A little over 25 years ago, North Wilkesboro Speedway lost both of its NASCAR Cup Series dates, with one of them going to the newly built Texas Motor Speedway. Now, in 2022, North Wilkesboro is back, replacing a Texas Motor Speedway date on the calendar. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. This is a very exciting day. NASCAR listened to the fans, to the most passionate fans, to the industry, to the drivers. NASCAR listened. And I'm not just talking about North Wilkesboro, we'll talk about that in just a moment, but NASCAR over the last 24 hours or so has taken nothing but dubs. We'll focus on the North Wilkesboro news in just a moment. I know that's why many of you clicked on this video, but I think it's important we pause. We all love to slam NASCAR, the sanctioning body, over every little issue. They're an easy punching bag. Guys in suits, many of them faceless, declaring the law of the land from their mighty throne. It's easy to criticize NASCAR, and often they do deserve it. But today, NASCAR, Fox, Speedway Motorsports, the state of North Carolina, the whole team deserves a round of applause. They listened. There were a few announcements made in the last 24 hours. I want to begin with this announcement from earlier this morning. Beginning this weekend at Kansas, NASCAR has put an onboard POV camera on every single Cup Series car. And fans at home, like you and me, will be able to live stream each of these cameras for free. They will be supported by ads, of course. It'll be on NASCAR Drive, which is hosted on NASCAR.com. It's already a thing every week, but they usually only have a handful of cameras to choose from. Now they'll have all 36 plus. They'll also be available in the mobile app. NASCAR said this will be a free feature throughout the remainder of 2022 and beyond. This is really, really exciting. Growing up, my dad subscribed to, I think it was called like NASCAR Track Pass, where they had like a live leaderboard. They showed all the dots going, in a circle where they were on a track. And then when NASCAR Race View with the 3D graphics, that whole technology came out and became available to fans, we subscribed to that. Every race, I was sitting in front of my TV with usually my dad's laptop off to the side, watching whichever cameras or views I was able to get, listening to the audio. It was the ultimate at-home sports fan experience. I've never experienced anything like that watching football, baseball, basketball. NASCAR had it down. Of course, Race View, which did have plenty of technical glitches I stumbled into over the years, they shut that down a couple of years ago, or it's no longer available to fans. I've been advocating basically ever since then for them to bring it back, try to revamp it, make it a little more reliable. That has not happened. I can still hold on hope that one day it will, but this is the next best thing. Free live in-car cameras on every single vehicle. You can follow your favorite driver all afternoon long. This is great. NASCAR and the entire production team deserves a ton of credit for this. Thank you. A huge win for the fans at home. Next, let's talk about a win more for the drivers and the teams, perhaps. Yesterday, NASCAR revealed 3 new changes that will be made to the next-gen car ahead of this weekend's race at Kansas that all aim to prevent fires like the one we saw in Kevin Harvick's car this past Sunday night. Here are some screenshots of the rules bulletin that was sent out to the entire industry. I'm not going to get into the weeds of trying to read into every parts change. It's a lot of words that I don't understand. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not very technical at all. I'm sorry. But from what I understand, listening to and reading other people's work who are much smarter than me on this topic, these changes aim to prevent the buildup of rubber inside the car, which is what caught fire in the case of Kevin Harvick. And these changes should also help keep any fire that should pop up from spreading as easily. So time will tell, may not be a complete fix, but it's something. And after the outcry from drivers over the past few days, especially Kevin Harvick, I'm glad NASCAR was able to enact this change fairly quickly. The timing is interesting. Of course, many will say, oh, well, they didn't do anything until Kevin Harvick blasted them on TV for it. I don't think that's the case. I think these changes have been in the works probably for at least a few weeks. I don't think NASCAR could just snap their fingers and suddenly have all their suppliers build these parts, distribute them to the teams in like a 3-day span, and have them ready to go for Kansas. No, this is something that's been looked into, researched, probably developed, built, produced for at least a few weeks. So NASCAR deserves some credit for what I'd say is about as timely of a response as you can possibly get without canceling races, and considering we're in the middle of the season. Like, I hope that once we get into the off season, have a couple months of not as much on-track action, maybe some other next-gen safety flaws can be worked out, but this is a start. Hopefully this solves the fire in the cockpit issue we've seen over the past few summer months. A win for the fans, a win for the drivers and teams. Now let's talk about a win, I think, for the entire industry. The big news of the day, North Wilkesboro Speedway is back. The NASCAR Cup Series will return to the short track next year, May 21st, for the All-Star Race. NASCAR unveiled this new event as part of their 75th anniversary celebration next year. The race will be held on May 21st, TBD on other events potentially that weekend leading up to the All-Star Race. The announcement was made today in Raleigh, North Carolina. Speedway Motorsports head Marcus Smith was there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was there, Steve O'Donnell from NASCAR was in attendance, the governor of North Carolina was there as well. The official announcement was made this morning, but the news was leaked by several reporters last night. Before the news leaked yesterday, though, North Wilkesboro Speedway made headlines by announcing they'd canceled all their dirt racing plans for later this fall. It appears as though the plan is to race next year on the current existing concrete surface. NASCAR and SMI determined that the current .625 mile configuration is good enough for the NASCAR Next Gen cars. I say good enough, it might put on a fantastic show if there's plenty of tire wear. I know I've seen several drivers already suggesting that we want long runs, we want lots of sets of tires, this could be fun. I know many fans are probably asking about tickets. Tickets will be on sale this fall, according to SMI, but they did say you can reserve your spot on a priority list if you make a $25 donation to Speedway Children's Charity beginning this Friday at noon, I believe. So I assume they'll have more information on that when the day comes. I'm throwing a lot of information at y'all. Let's just take a step back and breathe. North Wilkesboro Speedway is hosting a NASCAR Cup Series event in the 21st century. Look, I've said it before, I'm not as nostalgic for North Wilkesboro as many others, many of you who watch this show are. The Cup Series stopped racing there in 1996. I was born in 1997. I never watched a race at Wilkesboro live, unless you count that iRacing thing last year. I've listened to Dale Earnhardt Jr. rave about the track as much as the rest of you. I've listened to other members of the media who covered races back in those days discuss how special that venue was. I've seen video replays and clips, but the point is I don't have the personal connection to North Wilkesboro that many others do. And yet I'm still excited about this news. This is cool. Please take a moment of silence. Oh gosh, my hair. I did not do my hair this morning. That's why I'm wearing the hat. But please join me in a moment of silence though for the Texas Motor Speedway All-Star Race. I do have a nostalgic personal connection to Texas. It was the first track I ever saw a Cup Series race at. It's where I've seen by far the most races. It's my home track effectively. Texas Motor Speedway, losing the All-Star Race. You won't be missed, but I feel like I should still pay my respects regardless. It is my home track, and nobody else is going to pay respects to Texas, so I guess I have to do it. Back to North Wilkesboro though, this is very, very exciting, and it wouldn't be possible without SMI's commitment to the facility. It wouldn't be possible without Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s influence and passion. He was part of that volunteer team a couple years ago who helped clean up parts of the facility to allow iRacing to scan it. iRacing played a part in this revitalization project as well. Of course, the North Carolina state government also allocated $18 million of federal funding to go towards the Speedway, so the government helped a lot too. Money matters. But this is really, really cool. They have a lot of work ahead of them. I wasn't at that big Cars Tour late model race a couple weeks ago that had 18,000 fans packed into a sold out venue there. But per NASCAR's release today, that event happened despite only having portable toilets, not having any concessions at the facility. They relied on third-party local vendors to bring their food trucks in. They had temporary lighting. The press box wasn't even habitable. They didn't even have a working scoreboard. Despite all of those shortcomings, they were able to host 18,000 fans. They've got their work cut out for them because at least some of those things have to work by the time NASCAR rolls into town. Not to mention the lack of safer barriers. I assume NASCAR will want to build those before they send their drivers there. The announcement today was fairly light on specific details, so I just want to spend the rest of this episode by reacting to what we know. North Wilkesboro All-Star 2023 just became the hottest ticket to get. And thinking about that, I implore SMI and NASCAR to keep this event accessible. I've compared the possibility of racing at North Wilkesboro to what MLB baseball has done with their Field of Dreams game the last 2 years. Yet, what I could find, just based off a couple Google searches, the average ticket to the MLB Field of Dreams game cost over $900. Keep these all-star race tickets around $100, similar to other races on the schedule. Make this event accessible to those fans in and around Wilkes County. Yes, some fans will travel from out of state, some may even fly in for the chance to see this spectacle, but the last thing SMI and NASCAR should do is, build this as we're returning to our roots, to the grassroots fan, and then price out those very fans who have pushed the hardest for Wilkesboro's return. So I hope they keep it accessible. I also hope Fox knows what they're doing, because Fox, credit to them, they pushed for this. Fox has gone to NASCAR and supported the idea of moving the All-Star race around year to year to keep things fresh, to go into new venues. Fox has gone to NASCAR and supported the idea of moving the All-Star race around to keep things fresh, try out some new venues, new markets. Going back to that MLB Field of Dreams comparison, Fox broadcasts that, and they do a very good job with it every year, so on the content side of things, I think Fox will do this well, especially if Mike Joy is part of the broadcast. We know he's a tremendous historian. I think that'll be good TV. The Clash at the Coliseum, if I remember correctly, drew in over 4 million viewers on TV this year on Big Fox. I will be very curious to see what the North Wilkesboro All-Star race pulls in, because the Clash at the Coliseum had like mainstream casual fan appeal. I had distant family members at like Thanksgiving and stuff talk to me about like, is NASCAR really gonna race in a football stadium? Like, word got around. This North Wilkesboro thing is a huge, huge deal to racing fans, but will it have the same mass appeal the Coliseum did? I'm not exactly sure. So will it get 3, 4, 5, 6 million viewers? I hope whatever they get, it's considered a success for Fox. I know I'm giving Fox and NASCAR and SMI and everyone a lot of praise in this video, but I can't help it. I've said this before, but I do think NASCAR is doing a tremendous job of towing a difficult line. NASCAR is an older sport. Its fan base on average is older than the average major sport in the United States. They have to cater to the audience that helped get them to this point, but at the same time, they do have to pursue newer, younger fans and make inroads into different demographics that they historically haven't been able to. It's just smart for business. That is a difficult line to toe without going too far one way or the other, because if you go too far this way, these people won't be interested. If you go far this way, these people will tune out. In the past, NASCAR has perhaps thrown too many Hail Marys this way and lost some of their fans here, something Steve O'Donnell basically admitted to in today's press conference. But recently, the last few years, I think they've walked this line very, very well. There have been a lot of new things. The Clash at the Coliseum, the Chicago Street Race next year, the Next Gen is an all-new thing. But they have shown some love to the long-term fans recently. The Throwback Weekend at Darlington has been a hit the last 6, 7 years, however long they've been doing it. North Wilkesboro is probably the biggest gift they have given this side of the aisle in quite some time. So I think NASCAR has done a pretty good job of balancing both. And that is not easy to do. Now, maybe it's smarter business to just pick one and focus entirely on it. That's an argument that could be made. I'm a young fan, but I do like many of the traditions and things that got NASCAR to the place it is now. So I consider myself pretty close to this line, and as a fan in that realm, I enjoy what I've seen largely from NASCAR the last few years. The decisions they've made regarding schedules, how they promote the sport, stuff like that. Overall, I feel pretty happy with the direction they've gone, and if I'm feeling happy about it as someone here in the middle, I hope many close to the aisle on either side are also pleased with what they've seen. We've seen an uptick in ratings and attendance this year. That's great. Hopefully that trend continues. Very, very exciting news this week. The North Wilkesboro stuff, of course, the top headline, but I'm excited about that live camera stream thing in every single car. That's been a long time coming, and I'm glad it's finally coming to fruition just in time for the remainder of the playoffs. Share your opinions down in the comment section below. Are you going to try and get out to Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, the NASCAR Cup Series return? I just can't believe that's happening. We knew when they started, throwing budget towards it and everything. SMI was talking about. I was like, okay, NASCAR will return to Wilkesboro in a couple of years, but I figured it'd be trucks or Xfinity first, not Cup right off the bat. Wow. Anyway, share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We talk NASCAR every single day here on Out of the Groove. As always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. I truly appreciate your very generous support each and every month. I couldn't do this show without it. Thank you so much. Very exciting day. Gonna be hard to wipe this smile off my face for quite some time. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. I'll see you in the next video.